Upon my first viewing of Lemon, I had convinced myself that it was a disaster of a film. I didn't understand the characters, the performances rubbed me the wrong way, I was distracted by the editing and the ghoulish use of racial slur and bias, and I was dead set that it was a collection of random and uncomfortable scenes stitched together with no rhyme or reason. I convinced myself that whatever insane thing that the film was building to might have been worth it if there was any insane thing that the film was building to at all, which there wasn't. I had written it off as useless, and I had every intention to rip it a new one, but for my own clarity I gave the film another watch. It was right about this scene, where Isaac is fantasizing about his new girlfriend, where everything started to click. All the questions I had began to fall into place, and I understood what this film's purpose is. Lemon is all about being atypical.
I'm coming back a day early, but I'm gone again right away. Dallas, then Miami, who knows. Anyways, I would like to carve out a time for us to talk when I get back. I think we could both use some space. Okay, I hope you're well.
So, can I take you somewhere nice or not?
We have a really early start.
You're blushing. Can I brush your hair?
Hey, Mr. Isaac, it's the doctor. I'm calling about your medication you picked up today for your big gay infection. I fucking got him.
Never had I envisioned myself walking away from a film that defied my expectations and harboring a hatred for it. I love it when movies challenge me. I can't tell you how many blockbusters I've walked out of with an overwhelming feeling of apathy. Oh wow, the white girl is Jack Black now. I wonder if she's gonna make a pee-pee joke.
The fact that I'm not Instagramming this right now is insane.
A man watches his life unravel after he is left by his girlfriend of 10 years. Lemon tells the story of a drama teacher and aspiring actor Isaac Lockman, who is so socially and emotionally inept that he drives away everyone in his life that matters. The big actors I recognized were Michael Cera and Gillian Jacobs. Both of them can do comedy really well, especially Gillian.
Could a drunk person do this?
With a description so vague and a cast so comedic, I watched the film because its premise made me think it was either going to be a black comedy or drama, but it was neither. There are elements of both in the film, but I don't think watching it is supposed to evoke laughter or tears. Lemon is supposed to make the audience feel very, very uncomfortable.
Incontinence is not just a lady problem, it's an everybody problem. 25 million Americans suffer from urinary incontinence. 25% of that 25 million are men. That's 5 million men with bladder problems.
I could hit you. I could suffocate you. I could strangle you. I could cut you up and bag you up and throw you away in the woods in a hole where no one could find you. Do you know how many men have killed their girlfriends and wives? Millions.
Do you like chocolate?
Yes?
Is it your favorite food?
No?
Do you think Aunt Ruthie and Uncle Josh are your mom and dad?
Yes?
But they're not your real mom and dad.
I know.
Where are your real mom and dad?
Dead?
How did they die?
They were killed.
I think I'm gonna head out. I should have poisoned you.
This movie is hard to watch because of the way it portrays awkward social interaction, rape undertones, xenophobia, human waste, vandalism, and much, much more. And at first, that's all I thought there was to the movie. Now on paper, the movie laid out a goal for itself and achieved it flawlessly, but does that make it good? I argued not necessarily. If I wanted to make a movie about grass growing and I set my camera in front of a field for several hours, wouldn't I be achieving my filmmaking aspirations? The thing that Lemon left me hungry for was purpose. This movie is very difficult to watch because the protagonist is a borderline rapist. For what reason? The movie lacks establishing shots and just cuts from part to part as if it's on one giant scene. For what reason? You were confused by that phone joke and this sentence because neither of them comply with the rule of threes, and you expect me to end this last point with the words "for what reason," and I'm not going to out of some kind of homage / reflection to the film. Sauce.
Do you remember how pleasant the old times were? What a gay, bright, gentle, pure life we led.
One thing that had me intrigued to give the film another shot was my confirmed suspicion that I was straight up missing certain details about the story and the writing. Like how Isaac's brutal treatment of Gillian Jacobs' character is due to her similar appearance to his girlfriend, and he's using her as some kind of rage lightning rod.
The only thing that kept me from kicking you out of this class was that you look a lot like this woman I wanted to spend my life with. Milky skin, wavy hair, New York girl. Absolutely astounding. This is the type of work none of you have come close to.
Or all the racial undertones, and how they aren't just a cheap tactic for shock value. It's actually an integral part of the film, and it tells the audience more about the life of Isaac and why he is the way he is.
My sister has a black son, he's 6.
That's wonderful.
The first usage of this is when he sprays this lovely message on Michael Cera's car. This left me bitter and confused because I didn't know why it was in the movie. Is it to scare Michael Cera? Is it a revenge thing? Is it Isaac just being a fruitcake who thinks this is acceptable? I didn't have the answer, so I wrote it off as the film just being cheap. Same thing with this scene, with the little girls in the second act. They are bullying this fucking kid because of his race. This left me even more confused because it had nothing to do with Isaac, so why is it here? I thought to myself. Hell, the whole second act kind of just derailed the plot, but during my second viewing I figured out why. We spend time with Isaac's family so we understand where Isaac was formed and why he's so fucked up. His mom nitpicks the shit out of his every move, his siblings and cousins are all either arrogant or close-minded, his therapist ironically needs some fucking therapy, and you find out that it's a religious family. The kind of family that holds tradition dearer than the adaptation to modern social standard, including being racially tolerant. This explains Isaac's views on race, and it illustrates dysfunction very beautifully. Being in this house for 20 or so minutes makes the audience annoyed or uncomfortable, so imagine being forced to live in it for upwards of 18 years.
My mama loves to cook at least 3 times a day, but every now and then she gets carried away. But let me tell you of a time that I recall. One day my mama made a million matzo balls, a million matzo balls, a million matzo balls. One day my mama made a million matzo balls, a million matzo balls, a million matzo balls.
It'd drive anyone insane, or more realistically, it would drive anyone dysfunctional.
Get off me! Get off me! Get off me! Get off me! Get off me!
Hey! Are you cool? Is this good? You good?
As for other things I missed, there's lots of verbal symbolism sprinkled in the dialogue, several allusions to things being hard to watch or uncomfortable or, etc. Or the reason that Isaac's first girlfriend speaks in an almost robotic tone. It makes sense that she's been transformed ever so slightly by the Lockman family, just like Isaac. She talks like that because Isaac talks like that, and that's a performance thing and not an issue with the film. Anyway, the big thing I want to communicate is that Lemon is not only a challenging film, but a detail-rich one. These are qualities that I love in storytelling, but would I recommend this film? I think the hardest pill to swallow in the film is that nothing really happens in this movie that the one-sentence IMDb description doesn't tell you. Isaac loses his girlfriend, and that's really it. By the way, if you're interested in watching this movie and you'd like to avoid spoilers, I'd recommend you getting the fuck out of here right about now. Again, at first I despised the lack of payoff in the film and its admittedly suspenseful scenes. I felt like I wasted my time. But I believe that this was done to put you in the main character's head, to make you sympathize with this racist, stalking, violent sociopath after everything he's done to drive people away. During the last act, Isaac is at a barbecue with his new girlfriend's family. This is one of the final scenes, a potential jungle gym for crazy shit to unfold. What's gonna happen? I thought eagerly. Is Isaac going to have a mental break? He's been growing less mentally stable throughout the movie after all. Is he gonna pull out a fucking Glock and light up these fools? Is he going to dual-wield chainsaws and paint the local orphanage walls with the color of Crimson Sin? Oh boy! I was expecting something wild, and for a few sweet moments, admittedly, something wild is allowed to unfold. Isaac smokes a fat doink and for a few moments hallucinates this old woman telling him to run, so he grabs her wheelchair and books it down the road.
Danger! Danger!
But before this movie's climactic wild finale can play out, his girlfriend snaps him out of it, and Isaac leaves. You think to yourself, alright, but then he starts wildly and frantically trying to get into his house, and then you think that maybe, just maybe, the fun's not over yet, but then you find out he just needed to take a shit. I'm not kidding, there's a full, unadulterated scene of Isaac on the toilet, voiding his bowels. But then, his old girlfriend comes back, and stands before him. Isaac pleads for them to rekindle their love, and it is at this moment that I let my guard down a third time, and I thought that I was going to be given a wholesome, cliche, traditional movie ending. I didn't even like it. I didn't even want that to happen. But at the very least, I thought to myself, this movie wasn't all for nothing. There's going to be an ending. But alas, her words summarize it pretty simply.
What did you expect?
It is here that I understood this movie's theme. It's not called Lemon because Isaac Lockman himself is a lemon, it's called that because this movie is a lemon. Expectable and traditional elements of film are discarded in this movie. Establishing shots? Get that shit out of here. Virtuous protagonist? What are you, some kind of dummy McStinky pants? The biggest thing that Lemon lacks is payoff. There's so many scenes where something cool or horrible or interesting almost happens, but then the movie smacks you over the head to remind you that it's a lemon of a movie. In retrospect, it makes complete sense that I would hate this film going in. It's being bad on purpose, as a countercultural statement. Having no purpose, my biggest complaint, turned out to be its purpose all along. But that's where things start to get a little tricky. If you start to write things off as bad on purpose, then you can let things like strange editing, performance, and cinematography slip through the cracks of fair criticism. Is the opening shot of the movie off-center to nail home how atypical the film is, or is it just unintentionally bad? And when you're not thinking about this intention at all, is there even a difference between being bad on purpose and being bad just because you suck? It's because of these lingering questions that I'm not comfortable recommending the movie. It has a good cast, with some pretty good performances, Michael Cera especially, and a really cool soundtrack, but if you're planning on giving this one a watch, just know that it's a movie that will frustrate you, subvert your most basic expectations, be too big for one viewing, make you wince and crinkle, and it'll be over before you can say, what the hell just happened? If you want a more comprehensible indie movie, go watch, like, I don't know, like a Bad Frank or something.
Alright guys, I hope you liked the video. I mean, I spent a long time on it, and it took a long time, and it was really good, I feel like.
Noah, buddy, I'm trying to do my outro, okay? Could you like mute yourself?
Sorry.
Just give yourself a mute for a second.
Sorry, my dad's abusive.
Hey man, you don't need to unpack this all on me right now.
What you say, little twerp? No, Dad, it's me. No, Dad,
okay.
It's video. I swear. Oh, Daddy.
All right, I'm just gonna. Okay. You know, YouTube's a little different since the last time I used it. I originally uploaded this video, and you know, it was a little quiet, so I was like, I'll just fix it in the YouTube editor, and you know, and it didn't work. I had a little end card that I put in, thinking that I could, you know, throw in like an annotation. Annotations are gone too, you know, so yeah, I guess I just need to keep up with the times. But you know, still hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry that the Pride Month jokes don't work anymore, because this is technically up in July now. Thanks YouTube. And you know, I'm just gonna go jump in front of a moving train. All right, bye guys.